So hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So up now, Claude Fable 5 was only available through the EPA. So it's great to finally have Opus 5. So today we're going to see if Opus 5 can replace Fable 5 by building a website focusing on 3D, motion, and smooth animation. So let's get started.
The best place to see what is new and what is trending is on X. So before, everyone was talking about Kimi Key 3, and now it's all about Claude Opus 5. So every time a new model come out, people immediately start pushing it to the limit. So right now the big trend is one-shot prompting a video game. If that's crazy, yes it is. So right now for Opus, there are a lot of interesting open source project and prompt that I could try, but honestly I don't want to spend my token just for fun. I'm not a game developer, so I would rather use my usage on something that actually useful for me, such as building website. So I randomly came across this beautiful website that was nominated on Award in July 2026. It's a Nancy from French on the page, but I think there was probably a full team behind this project. I think the name is 60 FPS. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm going to record the landing page while scrolling to it. I have already tested this workflow and codecs, and it was able to analyze my video and reproduce the experience. But I have never tried it with code, so let's see if Claude can do it too. And don't worry, I'm not going to steal the website. I just want to use it as inspiration. The idea of a portfolio with a rotation 3D luxury product, similar type of interaction. And the goal is to see if Claude Opus 5 can create this kind of 3D experience without giving any ready-made asset. This website is pretty complex, so I think it's a very good test for Opus 5. One thing, I did not record the part where I gave Claude my first prompt because it took a while to generate. I was also recording another video at the same time. So let's jump straight to the result. So Claude tried to recreate the watch in 3D without using any asset from the original website. You can clearly see that it reproduced the structure, the layout, the motion, and the anti-on-scroll experience. So the watch itself doesn't look as polished or professional as the original. And honestly, I'm glad it doesn't. And the original still look much better. But it's also scary to see how well AI can analyze and recreate an existing website. I won't share this template because it's too close to the original concept. So what's very useful with Claude is that I can now ask it to completely change the concept. I don't want to copy the original, so Claude can suggest a new product, new visual direction, new design system, and storytelling while keeping the same level of 3D and motion complexity. Would I recommend giving Opus a video to analyze? Not necessary. It takes more longer because AI first has to understand the entire video before it can start building. So in my test, the process took almost 2 hours. Of course, Codex was much faster. I also tried with Fable 5, but it was a fail because it quickly used my limit without producing a result. So with Fablefy, it's almost impossible, but it can, but I don't recommend because it's going to be so much expensive just to analyze the videos. So don't do that. Video analysis is still useful when you want to reproduce a specific motion or animation. Sometimes showing the interaction is more easier than trying to explain every movement in a long prompt. So designers have always taken inspiration from other designers, right? And honestly, everyone copy everyone. But when the final result is too obvious, similar, you can easily create tension with the original designer. So the important thing is to credit the person who inspired you, then transform the concept enough that the final result had its own identity. So inspiration is fine. Releasing a obvious copy is not. So what did we learn from this test? First, Claude Opus 5 can analyze a video and understand the visual direction, the motion, and the overall experience. If you're doing this, I recommend using Opus 5 or but not Fable 5. Can it replace the team behind this beautiful website? No. Building something like this still take design direction. AI can get you surprising close and save you a lot of time, but it's still a tool, not a replacement for the people who create the original experience. You can see that this version is a cheap version of the original. This is something that I will never choose this rather than the original, but I will use this as a starting point to something else. So overall, I think Opus 5 is a huge step forward, especially if your goal is to build high-end interactive website. You can create so much thing. So I keep iterating until I arrive at a completely different concept. So in the end, I keep the idea of using a 3D watch, and it's not the same asset as the original. I completely changed the structure and the overall experience. The original website used continuous scroll storytelling from the arrow all the way to the footer. In my version, the watch transitioned into a new section without ever leaving the view part. So the design system, layout, and visual direction are also completely different. So, however, if I keep the first concept, like the same scrolling structure as the original, I would have replaced the 3D watch with a completely different element. So now let's talk about whether Fable 5 is actually better than Opus 5. Of course, Fable 5 is a beast. It's still the stronger model for the most complex tasks. But if you only want to use one model, I will pick Opus 5. The coding quality is very close to Fable 5, but Opus costs half as much. So let me give you another example that I built a website using Opus 5. So I built this directly in Aura.build. It also performed very well in every word, especially for writing and coding. So that's why Opus 5 make more sense as the default model for most people. And Fable 5 still win when you push it very extremely difficult tasks, but most users probably won't reach that level. So in most cases, paying the extra cost is not very worth it. Also, I use Aura.build, so I already have access to all the AI model I need in one place. I very love mixing different models such as GPT for the visual direction and Claude for animation and motion. And I don't know what's happened with Gemini because before that I was very loyal to this model. I use it for visual and animation, but I don't know what's happened. So let's see if Gemini can bring us a new different model, and also everything is already there. I can remix template, use skill, grab design md, and reuse existing component without constantly switching between different tools or start everything from scratch. So in my next video, I'm going to show you how to create this experience and codex, creating a 3D can for a ready-to-drink alcohol. I'm going to teach you from the 3D asset to the on-scroll animation and the final refinement. So that's it for me for today.
So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you like it. Enjoy. See you in another video. Bye.